I'm Billy S. Today, I'll be providing top tips to help you overcome every boss fight in the original Dark Souls. Boss fights can be the toughest part of beating any Souls game, and sometimes you just need the right pointer to push you in the right direction. So if you're new to Souls or you're struggling with a specific boss, this video is for you. And if you want some help in regards to the game at large, consider checking out my Dark Souls Beginner's Guide I posted last week. Now then, let's jump in with... Everyone and their mother will tell you to ignore the Asylum demon on your first encounter, as you'll only have a broken weapon that barely does any damage. Instead, you have to run through this side door, complete the rest of the tutorial, and come back when you're a little bit stronger. Or do you? When creating a new character, go to Starting Gifts and select the Black Fire Bombs. These are consumable explosives that you throw at enemies to deal damage, and wouldn't you know it, Black Fire Bombs are quite powerful. As long as you don't miss any of your throws, you can kill the Asylum demon in your first encounter, earning you the demon's Great Hammer weapon as a reward for your ingenuity. It pays to think smarter, not harder. The Taurus demon is a demonic bull creature, and that may tell the neurons in your brain to simply charge forth and fight the boss on that thin slither of battlement we call an arena, and while that is what I tend to do on most playthroughs, there are other options. Climb the ladder by the entrance fog gate and kill the two archers atop this tower. Then, after spawning the Taurus demon, leg it back over here and climb up to this circular part of the arena. Then you have two options. You can wait a short while, upon which the boss will leap upwards to fight you on this more traditional platform. You run the risk of getting smacked off the edge of the arena, but you'll be on a more even playing field. Or you can use the height of the tower to plunging attack the Taurus demon while he's thinking about what to do. You can then kite the boss all the way to the other side of the arena, dodge past him, and repeat this same strategy until the boss is down. Illusory Wall did a fantastic video talking about the many ways you can puzzle your way into a victory with the Capra demon, including strategies that allow you to kill the boss from beyond the fog gate. But I'm going to avoid strategies that the average player would need to do a lot of research to execute. Instead, my tip here is simple. After entering the boss room, wait half a second and start dodging for your life. You just need to survive the initial attacks from the boss and his dogs, then run up these stairs and hug the corner of this little ledge on screen. The dogs can follow you up here, but it allows you to funnel them one at a time, allowing for easy kills. While the Capra demon can't even stand on this platform, he'll always end up slipping down to the bottom of the arena, opening him up to a plunging attack. Have a decent shield to block attacks while corner turtling, and then once the dogs are killed, treat the Capra demon like any other boss and fight him as best you can. This strategy has always worked for me. For the Bell Gargoyles, my best advice is to take advantage of Andre of Astora, who can be found a short distance away from the Undead Parish Church. The game wants you to upgrade your main weapon so you can deal more damage to regular enemies and bosses. The best scenario is to have enough DPS so that by the time the second gargoyle spawns into the boss fight, you've already got the first gargoyle low enough that you can kill it in just 1 or 2 hits. If that isn't the case, my other strategy can involve kiting the two bosses around the arena, as one of them will always try to use long-ranged fire attacks while the other tries to attack you with melee combos. Whether you want to attack the one chasing you, or you want to try and get behind the one using fire attacks is up to you, but the best tip is just to focus one gargoyle down before starting on the other. The longer you leave both of them alive, the worse it will be for you. For Lordran's first drag superstar Gaping Dragon, check out my 10,000 subscriber special for context on that. The best tip I can offer you is to always go for her tail. It's not a secret that some bosses in this series have tails that can be chopped off, which can grant you a special weapon as a reward. And hey, the Dragon King Great Axe is a great bonus if you can manage it, but you're actually aiming to cut off the tail because one of the boss's main attacks is a tail swipe. By slicing the tail off, you actively neuter the boss's damage output as it won't realize its tail is gone and will continue to use that attack. It's free real estate, and unlike a certain crystal dragon later in the game, it's not that hard of a tail to cut off. Moving down to Chaos Witch Quelaag, she's at her most dangerous whenever she's either spewing lava puddles in front of you to slowly cut off escape avenues in the arena, or when she gets all EP before suddenly exploding in a fire nuke that will likely kill you if you're too close. My rule of thumb for Quelaag has always been get in front of her, then hug her head either to the left or the right. Attack, attack, and attack again. You will always avoid the lava she spits, and her katana slices won't ever hit you because their hitbox is more outward than inward. As long as you know to run away from her when she starts to lean down, which is the tell for her big AoE, and as long as you keep her in the middle of the arena and don't corner yourself on one of the sides, she goes down lickety-split. Back in the Asylum, we have the Stray Demon. Like Quelaag, his most damaging feature is an AoE that follows a majority of his weapon slams. Your job, in order to stay alive, is to recognize which of the boss's attacks will produce those explosions, and to get away from the blast zone accordingly. No matter what though, you want to be dodging behind the boss. Be on the side of the ass, not the side of the thighs, because if you're attacking the boss's front, or in that vicinity when any of the Stray Demon's AoEs go off, you will get hit. Dodge to the back of the boss, get hits in where you can, and try not to get yourself cornered, as it's a death sentence in this arena. It's 2026 and there are still some players who don't know how the Iron Golem fight works. You have to attack the boss's legs, avoiding his axe attacks and the telegraphed, yet difficult to avoid grab attack. After dealing enough ankle biting, the boss will tumble over and allow you to hit its head for major damage. Rinse and repeat until the boss is down. However, if you're confident in your abilities, you can actually bait the Iron Golem onto one of the extremely thin walkways on either side of the boss arena. Do enough ankle damage in these spots, and you can get the boss to tumble off of the arena, instantly killing it, as I managed in a recent Dark Souls Foggate randomizer. It always feels good to kill a boss via gravity, they deserve it. For Ornstein and smough, longtime viewers know exactly what I'm about to say. The hardest part of the fight is phase 1, where you have to deal with both Ornstein and smough at the same time. Once you get them to phase 2, yes, they can still hit hard with their various attacks, but you're just facing off against a singular foe. So to get you to that point as quickly as possible, may I suggest a serving of pillars in the arena that can be used to kite the two bosses, allowing for you to attack Ornstein and smough without the other interfering? These pillars truly are game changers. I often like to kill Ornstein first, as I find Mega Smough easier than Mega Ornstein, so I've become quite adept at keeping smough at a distance behind these giant pillory hitboxes. Once you have Ornstein alone, he can't do shit against you, especially if your weapon is nicely leveled, so go to town, go nuts, and just make sure to keep both of them in your sights at the same time. Taking a detour to Darkroot, the Moonlight Butterfly doesn't really have any game-breaking tips to make the fight easier. If you're running a magic build, you'll have ranged attacks that can keep up with the boss while it's flying through the air. If you're running an archery build, you might struggle a bit more to hit the boss as it's moving, but you'll still be doing consistent damage. Melee users, you really do just need to learn the timings for dodging the magic spells, and gear up any buffs for when the boss lands on the bridge to feed. Take every opportunity to do damage then. You can even tank the AoE the boss launches before flying up again if you want to get some extra hits in. Remember, this is an optional fight for a Divine Ember. You can wait until the mid to late game, come here extremely leveled up, and beat the butterfly in a single cycle. In fact, I'd recommend it. When it comes to the internet's favourite doggo, Ceath has always had one glaring weakness: staying underneath the goodest of puppers. Hug those legs and try to stay beneath the boss as much as you possibly can, because Ceath's sword attacks do serious damage even in late game, which further enhances the need to just avoid all the wolf's attacks. That, and learn to get away from the spin to win attacks Ceath sometimes does, where they spin the sword around themselves. It's killed me quite a few times in the past. If you see that attack being geared up, try dodging backwards or shielding through the first hit, and maybe bring some tissues, you can't fight through the tears, you know. Popping down to the Demon Ruins, the Ceaseless discharge fight is one single tip that any new player can make use of for an instant win. We all know it, I'm gonna say it anyway. Once you trigger the fight by collecting the clothing of Ceaseless's sister, run back to the fog gate at the start of the arena. Ceaseless will chase you down and try to lunge at you. Then he'll end up in a position where his hand is gripping the edge of the arena, and his body is beginning to topple. Smack the hand and you'll long live the king, the boss, into the abyss, instantly winning the fight. You can fight him normally if you want, but I really prefer this trick. Demon Firesage is the exact same fight as the Stray Demon, all their tips apply to him. The only new piece of advice I can give you is to be careful of the arena geometry. All of these roots and gnarled branches litter the playing field, and it's very easy to get caught on them and have your momentum halted. This can lead to you getting hit by the boss's AoEs and potentially even death. You just have to watch your step and, again, don't let yourself get cornered, as it's even more difficult to get out of said corners in this arena compared to the arena of the Stray Demon. I've got 2 tips for the Centipede Demon. First up, do the little bit of parkour to your right when you enter the boss arena and lead Centipede over to this stretch of land in the back. This is a safe spot for you to fight. Once you've led the boss over, fight like normal. Don't let the boss move back into the lava, and if you get lucky, you might even cut off one of the boss's limbs, which could earn you the orange charred ring early. This allows you to walk on lava. If this happens and you die, you can simply equip the ring, head back into the boss arena, and now fight viably on the lava. If you don't end up getting the ring, again, just lead the boss to the back of the arena. If you do have the ring, fight it like any other boss in the game. My one tip for Bed of Chaos is that the crumbling floor that is infamous for killing players has the same layout every single time. And once the floor is crumbled once, it will remain crumbled for future attempts. Don't worry about rushing this fight either. Look at the Bed of Chaos, watch her patterns as they are fairly predictable, and you'll know when you need to roll while moving to avoid her swipes. This is a fight where having confidence goes a long way towards success. And also, be at full health when you go for that final weak point in the center, as she can cast Firestorm while you're in that tunnel of roots, and it can kill players who aren't fully healed. Seath the Scaleless has 2 major components to his fight that you need to watch out for. First, he is immortal until you break the crystal in his Crystal Cave boss room. It's pretty obvious that you need to do this, but just in case there's someone out there who isn't aware, do that. The second thing is his Crystal Breath, which can cause curse buildup if you stay in it for too long. At this point in the game, you should have enough resistance that one blast of his Crystal Breath won't immediately curse you, but I also wouldn't blame you if you just want to dodge out of the way as soon as you can and not take the risk. You can also cut off his tail for the Moonlight Greatsword, but it's a pain in the ass as he constantly shuffles to the left and the right when you try to get behind him, and it makes him more liable to do his triple tail slam attack that can deal major damage. You can't really cheese Seath, you just need to be aware of which moves are more annoying to deal with in the long run, and fish for those moves that aren't as irritating to handle. There's a really fun trick to Priscilla's fight. Don't! Just don't. Walk off the edge and leave her alone. She's chill, you're chill. Unless you want her dagger or the life hunt scythe, in which case, do what everybody does. Watch the snow on the floor for her footprints when she turns invisible, and attack her tail as much as you can at the start to cut it off and get that drop. There's a really fun trick to Gwendolyn's fight. Don't. Just don't. Leave Anor Londo and never look back. He's chill, you're chill, unless you want to bring down the very monarchy that plunged this world into chaos, in which case do what everybody does. Run into the room and use the pillars on the left and right sides of the arena to hide from his dagger attacks and his small magic orbs. The only attack you need to dodge while behind a pillar is his soul arrow as it goes through objects. Keep making forward progress and snake to the left and right and you will be fine. The Four Kings are pretty infamous for being a DPS check in Soulsborne. One of them spawns at the start, and if you take too long to kill him, another will spawn. And then another, and another, and another, and another, and another. Effectively, the best strategy for the Four Kings is to upgrade your weapon to maximum and just DPS your way to a victory. The Four Kings have sweet spots on their swords where the further away you are from them, the more damage their attacks will do, while from close range, their attacks are easy to block, don't do a lot of damage, and all you have to worry about is their AoE or their grab. If you're still struggling, collect the Havel's set from the hidden room in Anor Londo and stalk towards the bosses in the strongest armor in the game. You'll barely take damage and you can just tank your way to a victory. For Pinwheel, hit him. Hit him like 2 times. Easy win. I wish I was joking, but his HP is so minuscule for the point in the game you're intended to face him that he goes down without a fight. If you go for him at the very start of your run though, try to kill his clones as quickly as possible, and be aware that he has a special attack at low health where all his copies will spawn in and try to damage you, after which you can permanently kill them before permanently killing the boss himself. Thank you, again, Illusory Wall, for pointing that one out. Gravelord Nadeau himself doesn't have a lot of difficult mechanics beyond learning the timing to dodge his Gravelord Scythe and running away from when he uses his AoE. So instead, my advice is this: bring a divine weapon into the boss fight. Nadeau has a series of skeletons that will constantly respawn and attack you during the battle, unless you use a divine weapon, in which case the skeletons will die just like any other enemy in the game. You can get the Divine Ember from the tower after Moonlight Butterfly. Give it to Andre, and he can change any +5 weapon into a divine weapon, which can then be upgraded to a +5 divine weapon. Also, avoid going to the other side of the arena where the big skeletons are. Stick to the corner you fall into with the small skeletons for a much easier time. The best tip I can give for the DLC fights in general is that they are faster than the fights from the base game. Sanctuary Guardian is an aggressive enemy who doesn't leave you a lot of openings to attack, so you have to recognize which moves are punishable and when. Be aware that as you're in water, the Guardian's electric attacks will create small shockwaves on impact that can damage you if you're too close. So don't underestimate that distance and constantly be trying to make up space between you and the boss. The Guardian loves to jump backwards and fly away from you, so it's your job as the player to chase him down, get in close, and hit him while avoiding the melee combos and the poison tail. For Knight Artorias, this is a fight where you don't need to be the aggressor. In fact, I should say be more reactive to what he's putting out there, as many of his moves are punishable and it's better to let him cycle through what he wants to do, as opposed to you trying to force specific moves out of him. Be careful of his forward somersault attack, as it can be repeated up to 3 times, and there are no ways to know how many he'll do. And midway through the fight, you can interrupt Artorias as he's trying to buff himself. With strength builds, it's incredibly easy, as a couple of strong hits will knock him out of the danger zone. I assume fully leveled dex weapons are just the same. That's the one point where you need to be aggressive. When he starts backing up from you, he's gonna get stronger, and you need to say, "No, Artorias, no! Bad!" For Black Dragon Calamy, you want to use the same strategy you used with Sif, which is to stay under the boss as much as possible. Calameet's claw and tail swipes are a little more deadly than anything Sif can do, but you can manage it. The only thing is, don't stay directly in front of Calameet. It's tempting to hit their head, as dragon fights in modern Souls games have taught us that the head is the weak spot. But if you get caught in Calameet's grab because you're fishing for headshots, you'll be afflicted with the Calamity status effect and you'll take more damage from all sources. If there's one tip you really want to listen to, it's that one. Don't make this fight harder on yourself, it's difficult enough already. For Manus, I have 2 pieces of advice. The first is to recognize when his Wombo combo starts. He'll do a large roar before going into a very long attack string, and if you're caught by any of the attacks here, you'll be stagger locked and forced to take the full brunt of damage until the combo is over. It is brutal, but once you recognize the signs, you can back away nice and safely. My other piece of advice is to bring the pendant found behind an illusory wall in Ulasil Township. You need to either have the Skull Lantern or Sunlight Maggot equipped to reveal the secret room containing the pendant. It can be used as an item in battle to repel Manus's dark magic attacks. These are dodgeable without the pendant, of course, but if you're really struggling, having an item that can negate those attacks with a simple case of timing can go a very long way. And finally, for Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, take it away, Mael.
Parry it! Parry it! Parry it! Parry it! Ready to parry. Nice.
And those are my tips and tricks for the bosses of Dark Souls. Do you want me to try covering other Soulsborne games with this format? Let me know down below, and be sure to parry that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all my future videos. We're trying to reach 50,000 subscribers. That's my next big channel goal, and it would be very awesome to see that happen this year. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to my YouTube channel members for supporting me for another month. It is $4.99. You get a shout out in the description at the end of videos, and you get access to my Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 2 Soul Level 1 runs. Very fun. If you want to follow me, I have Blue Sky, I've got Discord, I've got Twitch, but I am most active here on YouTube, doing live streams every week. I might be live right now, you never know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Adios.